everyone, and welcome to our show, Let's Talk Sarcoidosis. I am Dorothea Howard, the host of the show, and alongside of me to my left is the wonderful co-host, Mr. Lawrence Franklin. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing great. Looking
Good.
forward to a good show.
Oh,
again.
absolutely. We always have the best shows, and we want to continue to do this. We have a fantastic guest today. First of all, we want to welcome her and wish her a happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Because her birthday is today, and she's spending it with us, and this is a great thing. So we'd like to welcome Mrs. Nicole Ruffin. She's the founder of Care Essence Therapeutic Massage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, welcome, Mrs.
Thank you
Ruffin.
so
Nice to
much.
have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
And we're glad that
Glad to
you're here as
have you.
well.
Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly. So I'm going to start right out with the questions.
Okay.
What's the standard methods of treating sarcoidosis?
Well, the thing about sarcoidosis is the illness is not traditional, you know, and because of the aches and pains and the injuries that clients have, the massage is not necessarily the primary recommendation. So we do techniques that can be off body because sometimes touch can be painful for the client. So we'll do techniques like Reiki therapy, craniosacral therapy, and steel touch. With Reiki therapy, it's a way to help the body, help the client listen to their body and see the chaos that's going on with the pain, the aches, the injuries, the swelling and things like that or whatever. And it helps them to channel in and focus on what their body is trying to tell them. So it's like meditation. And then the craniosacral is a way to deal with the neurological system of the body. And what happens is, when a person is exposed to trauma, any kind of trauma, whether it's post-traumatic stress, a car accident, abuse, or illness, their body sort of shuts down. They kind of clamp up and get really tight and rigid and things like that. And so craniosacral, what I do is I do hand placements, not rigid, but very soft touch throughout the body. And it sort of stimulates movement of the cerebral spinal fluid. The experience is amazing. No two experiences are the same. Every client who receives craniosacral will share with you a different outcome, but it's very relaxing, very calming, and very an opportunity for a client to relax, listen to their spirit, listen to what their body is telling them. You know, we are surrounded by so much noise that you don't get to listen to what your body is telling you, and this is a way to channel in and tune in.
Wow, that sounds relaxing.
It really is.
That sounds
it's really
relaxing.
amazing work.
So will massage help patients with sarcoidosis?
Again, with massage therapy, which is what I primarily do with most of my clients or whatever, because of the illness, what I do is I usually have the clients fill out an intake form and let me know what needs the most attention in their body, right? So if someone is dealing with the skin sensitivity of sarcoidosis, they may not want to be touched. So I don't go in with the mindset, oh, I'm just going to manipulate, knead, pull, stretch your body in different directions or whatever. I kind of find out, well, how are you feeling today? What's going on with you today? Once they communicate to me what is going on, then I'll decide how I will apply massage therapy. Usually deep tissue is too much because they're too sensitive for it. And so once I find out, you know, what's causing the most complications in their body or whatever, then I'll create a treatment plan with that. And with that in mind, I'll usually start with steel touch. Steel touch is as simple as like when you hold an infant, you know, you're not grabbing and gripping them or whatever, but
very gently,
very gently throughout the body. And if they feel like they can handle more circulatory movements, then I'll move into that. But most of the time, we usually pause with just the gentle hand placements and touch throughout the body.
Okay. You can tell you're a therapist.
Yes.
You said
I'm ready.
with that circulatory motion there.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Nicole, in speaking about that, what massage techniques can help?
So typically we talk about alternative types of techniques and things like that. So one of the things that I primarily do is I talk to clients about meditation and breathing, because it's important, because sometimes where the pain and injuries are occurring, the different organs and things like that, they may not be getting enough circulation, they may not be getting enough oxygen, and so breathing brings in a focused, filtering type of oxygen into the body, and it can relieve pain. When we do deep tissue massage, we do a lot of heavy compressions, and when we do those heavy compressions on the body, that signals the body that we need oxygen to that area. So this is a gentler way to communicate to the body that, hey, we need oxygen here, because oxygen can reduce pain, you know. So meditation is a very important type of work. And a lot of times clients are like, I can't just sit still for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. That's why you start slow. You can start with like 1 to 2 minutes and work your way up. A great meditation time period is 20 minutes. But if that's not something that you're comfortable doing, you can do things like listen to guided meditation on your smartphone.
Okay.
And they'll have either music. Some people respond better to music. Some people respond better to a facilitator guiding you through a visual aid. And most of them are standard anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And so a lot of guided meditations, they will encourage you to focus on your breathing. They'll remind you to breathe and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've tried that. I mean, at home, you know, and listening to, like you said, some of the, they have some great music on some of these stations on your smartphones.
Yeah.
And it is relaxing.
It really is.
You know, it's very relaxing. I can only imagine if it's in a facility.
Right.
And you have a facilitator just actually telling you how to breathe and what to do.
And as a man, getting being a little more, slowing down a little bit, being a little more patient, because one of the things that I don't normally do is slow down. I'm usually all over the place. But when my wife does get me to slow down, and she uses these, I mean, sometimes she'll put the meditation the music on or something.
It's relaxing.
And oh, well, I'm asleep then.
Exactly. And you know,
it's
it's okay to fall asleep too. A lot of people get kind of frustrated when they start thinking about things and they fall asleep and they feel like the work is not being done, and it's still getting in. But just like you were saying, your wife introduced you to meditation. I've introduced my husband to meditation because you know there's just a lot of chaos, and a lot of times when we get ill, that's like a way for us to slow down, because we can't do the things that we used to do. And now we have time to sit still and listen, and it's a great opportunity.
And we don't do that. We don't sit still. We don't listen.
I know we don't do it enough, right?
I resemble that remark. So I mean, I understand.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about the essential oils? Do they help?
Yes, essential oils do help. The oils come directly from the plant source, and so the exchange that we have with plants are that we give plants O2, carbon dioxide, and they give us oxygen. So I usually use the example like the blood in our bodies give us life, and the essential oils come directly from the plant source. It gives them their life. So when we apply the oils to our body, we can receive them in a couple of ways. Aromatherapy means smelling them. We can apply the oils to our bodies, and we can apply them topically, smell them, and we can actually take them orally. Some of them are safer to take than others, but I usually focus on the plant-based ones like peppermint, lavender, and things like that. And what happens is the client will decide based on smell. If they're attracted to the scent, then that's something that their body may be deficient in and they can use. If you let them smell it and they do not like the scent, then you don't want to use that particular oil. And that would be case specific for each person. So you can't just say that there's a standard essential oil that you would use on any client that has sarcoidosis. It's more specific to what they're attracted to. The attraction is usually indicative of a deficiency in their bodies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something, you know,
Very
interesting.
interesting.
I love
Very
lavender.
interesting.
Diffusing was the other word that I couldn't remember. So diffusion, you can put it in like a well, and then you'll just pump the oil and it kind of diffuses throughout the room and things like that or whatever. So that can enhance a meditation. Yeah.
And there are actually oils that you can ingest, that you can drink?
Yes. So I've been using essential oils now for about 10 years. So typically what I do, I wouldn't necessarily recommend for everybody else. It's kind of like, don't try this at home.
Right.
But what you would do is you would put it in one of those gel capsules and then take it orally that way. So
Oh, really?
yeah, but I've played around with a lot of things. So some of the ones that say are not for consumption, I'll
Right.
consume those as well.
Right.
So I wouldn't really tell
Right.
people to just go ahead and take a bunch of essential oils. But there's a lot of books out here that tell you what the different oils will do.
Okay.
The only thing that I would mention is that you want to make sure that you're using therapeutic grade oil as opposed to pure oil. And the difference is the FDA approves that a dilution can be labeled as pure. So if you have 5 drops of a pure oil in a carrier oil like almond oil or grapeseed or something like that, they'll call that pure. But what you want is therapeutic grade oil, which means that the entire container is nothing but that plant source.
So you don't want us using corn oil or peanut.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
But I've heard
Okay.
people use olive oil, though.
Now, it's nothing
Right.
wrong with olive oil,
Right.
but you just want to make sure that the oils that you purchase, the ones that are labeled essential, you want to make sure that they say therapeutic grade oil. The brand that I use is Young Living.
Okay.
And so, for example, you'll get in a lavender oil from Young Living, you'll get 10 milliliters for like $15, but then you can go to a grocery store and get like 30 liters for $15.
Oh.
It's one that has a carrier oil. You know what I
Okay,
mean? So
right.
and so you want to be careful about ingesting carrier oils
Right.
because you don't know what the oil is. So
Right. It's not 100%.
exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What are the best exercises for training the lungs? Because that's, people ask, I know they ask me that quite a bit. So just in general, at your practice, what would you suggest?
I would start with something as simple as walking. So, when you are suffering from the illness sarcoidosis, your body goes through a lot of changes. And so the exercises that you may have been doing before you were diagnosed, you may be doing strength training, heavy cardiovascular, you may be training for a marathon or whatever. And then things slow down and shut down. So I would begin with listening to your body. You don't want to try to maintain the same circuit weight exercises that you were doing before you got ill.
Right.
You want to listen to your body. So you may have been running 3 or 4 miles before, and now it may be a struggle to just walk a half a mile. So I'd say continue with the exercise because that's important for circulation, but you want to slow down to keep up with what your body can do. You don't
Right.
want to, it's not like working out with a personal trainer and when you're lifting weights and your muscles start shaking and they say, give me 3 more and you push through it. When your body says stop,
Oh,
you
yes.
want to slow down.
Right.
You definitely want to slow down.
And that's true because I know that some people, and including myself, sometimes I try to just push myself a little more. And you're right, it's very important for people to listen to their body.
Yeah.
Because our information comes from our body.
Exactly.
And when we don't listen, our body's already told us, whatever it is that's wrong, we already have that information because our body is trying to tell us. It's just that we as people don't always listen to those signs that the
Right.
body's given us.
And that just goes back to that outside noise that we were talking about. We have all of these distractions and we want to get back to work, get back to doing all the things that we want to do. And our body is trying to say, that's not what we need right now. We need to just slow down. We need to just rest. I have a friend who has sarcoidosis and she's had lung cancer as well. And so when she knows how to listen to her body now, so when her body says, I need the day off,
Right.
she really can't do anything but just rest. And that's what your body is telling you. Larry and I were speaking about water, and water is another thing that's very helpful. I call it our body's natural beauty source, but it's more than just beauty because there's oxygen in water, and our body needs oxygen for fuel to run. It's what keeps our motor running, and so when you are drinking the water, it increases the circulation. So when you have no circulation in certain parts of your body, water comes along, provides oxygen, it flushes those toxins out. It helps reduce weight, but more importantly, it gets things moving in places that are stuck. And unfortunately, with sarcoidosis, all of the organs are attacked at one time or another.
Yes, that's true.
And so it needs that oxygen just to keep it going. When you don't have oxygen coming to a certain source, eventually what will happen is necrosis, and that's death, and you don't want that to happen. So you want to keep the exercise going, the breathing through the meditation, and the water. All of it works together to keep the system vital.
Kind of like oil for the car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Is that why I went to a yoga class with my wife not too long ago, and it seemed like right after the class, everybody was grabbing water, drinking water. Is that one of the reasons why they
It's
do
because
that?
there's toxins that may be stagnant when the body is ill, and once you start drinking the water, it starts getting those areas that are stagnant flushing and moving.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
water does a lot for our body. If you think about it, if you're not a common water drinker, just try drinking 20 ounces of water in the morning when you first wake up. It just feels like your body just comes alive.
Right.
It's the most amazing thing you can do. Now, one of the things people recommend is half your body weight in ounces of water daily, and that may seem like a lot. One of the good things is if you're trying to lose weight, the more water you drink, you'll lose weight, and so the less water you'll have to drink eventually.
Right.
However, I would say drink what's comfortable for you, but you would need at least 64 ounces. That's 8-ounce glasses. That's the least that you can start with.
That's the minimum.
That's the minimum you
Right.
can start with, because
Right.
if you're not used to drinking water, it may be too much to have to, you know, unfortunately my requirements are higher or whatever. So
Right.
if you have to drink a high amount, when you're just starting a regimen like that, it may be too much for you. So you want to start
Right.
with just the basic 64 ounces.
So you're saying starting out, 64 ounces should be the basic. Wow.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting because I've heard studies about drinking water saying that you can actually drink too much water.
You can drink
And
too
that's
much
like,
water,
wow.
but if you're moving and exercising, you'll never get to that point. So
Okay.
I would just say, you know, keeping up with the exercise, because you require more water when you're exercising,
Right.
because you sweat it off and things like that or whatever.
Exactly.
So, you know, maintaining that movement, you're going to flush it out. You know,
Wow.
because all of the things are running, your urinary system is going to still be working. So,
Right.
yeah, I would say
Water works wonders.
it does.
I mean, it's just like you said, it's just like the oil in the car. Without the oil in the car, it won't run.
Exactly.
So
You
that's
know.
that's probably even more important for sarcoidosis patients to drink more
Yeah.
water, to flush and
And for that oxygen.
and oxygen. Yeah. Because I think because every time I go to the doctor, the first thing that he does is stick the
Yeah, I get that
CO2,
too.
the
Yeah.
O2 on my
Right.
finger
And mine
to
is
see what my oxygen
pretty much
level is.
pretty good considering, you know, the circumstances. But, you know, is it true also, because they always say if you're thirsty, then you're dehydrated. Is that true?
And it's amazing how our bodies communicate to us. So, you know, some of the signs of dehydration, you can tell the change of the darkness in your urine, cracked feet, ashy skin, dry mouth, headaches, constipation, and things like that. By the time you get all of those signs, your body is like on the inside screaming, help, we need water.
Wait a
Or
minute.
make you feel like you need to go to the emergency room.
So you're saying all of those are signs of that you're water deficient?
Exactly.
The body's water deficient?
Yeah, I had a client one time. She had this
Wow.
dry patch in the middle of her back, and she didn't drink water. And it's amazing how we can feel, we as therapists can feel the dehydration, because when we're gliding across the skin, if we imagine like you're on a country road. When
Right.
you're driving on a country road, everything is smooth. And then you come to these like potholes and speed bumps, which is like a surprise or whatever, but there's no glide. And so it's because of the dryness in the skin, the circulatory system. That's what we do. We're stimulating that circulation or whatever. But it can be so much more helpful if you're drinking the water.
Wow.
And I was talking about the dry patch. I told her to just drink water every day. You know, I told her to drink half her body weight in ounces every day for a week or two. The dry patch cleared up.
Does it have to be pure water? Can it be like one of those little plastic things that you squirt in the water? Can it be those?
So
or
what I recommend is, if you have some other substance that you drink, if you drink coffee, tea, alcohol, or something like that, once you drink that container
You said alcohol.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever, that's some people's preference. But if you're drinking, one of those items or whatever, then you fill your container back up with water, and then you drink the water. So granted, you're diluting what you just drank, but the water will help flush all that stuff out.
Okay.
Wow. So drinking tea is not really considered pretty much a water consumption.
No, no, it's not water.
Okay.
It's not water. It's a caffeine or whatever. It's not bad for you. I drink
Right.
tea all the time, but you just want to make sure, because some of those, the alcohol, the caffeine and things like that or whatever, they can be dehydrating,
Right.
The alcohol is definitely
Right.
dehydrating, but I'm not going to tell a client, if this is what you do for comfort,
Right.
that you have to cut that out. I'm not an advocate for telling people to cut out what's naturally in their lifestyle, but then this is what you have to do to enhance those things.
Right. Now that sounds, I mean, it's important, and I think people need to know just in everyday life, they need to come to someone like you and get de-stressed,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? And have the experience, and really, I think we feel like we don't deserve it.
Exactly.
And I mean, maybe some of your clients might come in, and some people are hesitant because they feel guilty about doing them.
Exactly.
So what do you say to people like that should be coming to you and getting that experience?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention is, sarcoidosis, right along with some of the other health issues that come up in people's lives or whatever, there can be a level of disappointment, like they think that their body has let them down. You know what I mean? There's this stage of where you were before you were ill, and now this is what your limitations are. And so you have to work through all of that stuff. And so what I encourage clients to do is understand where they are and work through that. So, if you feel let down, if you feel like you have to establish trust with your body all over again or whatever, start encouraging yourself, doing positive talk, writing things out, have a support group. Unfortunately, because sarcoidosis is one of those diseases where you don't look sick, or you're not physically ill, you haven't lost hair and things like that or whatever, people don't always understand the pain that you're in. So you may have to initiate support with other people who are going through what you're going through. One of the things that my friend and I do, and my husband and I do this as well, is a technique called the rundown. And the way that the rundown works is, if I want to complain about what I'm going through, if I'm, really angry about my illness and things like that, I'll let you be my support. You give me, I'll say, I want 5 minutes to run this down. During that 5 minutes, you're cussing, you're fighting with yourself, you're yelling, you're screaming and everything or whatever. I'm just mad, this, that, and the third or whatever. And then at 5 minutes, it's over, because you understand what I'm dealing with.
Right.
And
I mean, that's a good point, and that's why we need to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, no one else will take care,
Exactly.
And then I was going to ask her if she had any more tips before we wrap it up for the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any more tips that you like to?
It's just one of those illnesses that you have to work through, and every person that you encounter is just an opportunity to explain what's going on, teach them how to help you, and educate them on what sarcoidosis is.
Right. Wow. That was great.
Awesome.
I mean, great
Awesome
information.
show.
Everyone that's watching the show, you can watch the credits and get Mrs. Ruffin's information, and do yourself a favor, treat yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Drink
treat
more
yourself,
water. Drink more water. Yeah. and I'm saying this because I was one who would go to get my blood test, and,
Right.
and the doctor would take one look at the results and say, "You're not drinking enough water."
Right.
And I'm like, "What? How you know I'm not?" And so I started drinking more water. So and I see a big difference.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true. So, we definitely want to thank you for being on the show today, because we know it's your birthday. We hope and pray that you have many, many, many more.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And you enjoy yourself, and we appreciate it, because this is your special day, and you allowing us to have you, and your husband is allowing us to have you on your special day.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So as we always say,
We both
have sarcoidosis, but sarcoidosis doesn't have us.
Well, all right.
Until next time, be blessed.
I love it.
Thank you so much,
You're
Ms. Ruffin.
welcome.